What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday, and welcome to the super special, never before done. Well, it's only been a few episodes. So episode 9 of Joel's CoachCast, and yes, it's usually on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock in the Pacific time. But today it's a special day because we missed a couple weeks at the beginning, with the holidays coming into end of 2018, early 2019. So I want to get some more content going, and so we've got one. I got a CoachCast today, and I got a CoachCast tomorrow. So you're going to get 2 this week. How excited is that? I got my Brawler hoodie on because it is freezing in Southern California, which I know I'm going to get zero sympathy from most people probably who are watching this, because if you're on the East Coast, I'm sure that you guys are like completely freezing, and yeah, it's cold. It's legit cold there. It's not legit cold here. But you know what? For Southern California people, it's cold for us. So that's why I got my hoodie on. So so this one is, I'm excited about today because this is going to be a lot of fun, and it's something a little bit different. Yes, we're still talking, the business of what we do, and if you guys in Team Beachbody, but wanting to bring in some more help in terms of how to help you guys talk to people about these programs and everything we do. So with that said, let me go ahead and push my little buttons here. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and I'd like to introduce. Wait for it. There's always a waiting period. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's going to happen. I know it's happening. Come on. It says waiting for a connection. There she is. Ha! Hello, darling.
Hello.
You know what? Your hair looks fabulous. We were just talking, and you said you were getting your hair. Now I feel...
This is the big reveal. I went blonder, for sure.
I feel very scrubbed out now that I see you all done up and stuff. I'm going to step back a little bit more. So, anyway... Ilana Muhlstein, welcome.
You look great, Joel. You always look great.
My brother hoodie. Welcome to the CoachCast. Thanks for jumping on, and it's awesome. And what I think this is gonna be great, because what most people are always asking about is not just the workout programs that we do at Beachbody, but it's the food. And food, really confuses people. And then my biggest thing forever, one of my things for years, I was saying, hey, that scale that you have, you should just throw it through the window. And to which I see that face that you just made, because that's not something that you believe in. So I think this is great because we can, really kind of put these two things together. Yes. And I think it's going to really help people. So anyway, before all that stuff, so, for a lot of people in the Team Beachbody world, they know you and your background already with 2B Mindset and where you came from, and your transformation story. But let's talk about since then. Let's just kind of give people an update on what's been going on with you, because you came out with 2B Mindset, and then you've been busy, not just from the program, but because of a child.
Yeah, for sure. So very exciting. We launched a 2B Mindset in May, and since then there are over 200,000 people, amazingly, doing the program, seeing success, along with Lift 4, by the way. The combined results are like the sexiest before and afters ever, like unbelievable. So excited for everyone who did the combo, and super exciting. It was such a success that immediately we launched a certification program while I was launching a child in between, who's 8 months today. So the program is exactly 8 months and 3 weeks old. My baby is 8 months old, and the certification is like 6 months old. So it's been a busy past couple of busy.
Yeah, and launching a program and launching a child, those are two very large, those are two big endeavors.
I feel like I had triplets, because the certification was also like a big thing as well that we created, which thankfully is doing well. So it's been a big labor of love. I mean, I love it all. It's a good juggle.
Yeah. So now you have 2 kids. Now you have 2 kids running around.
I have an 8-month-old and a 3.5 turning 4-year-old.
So with everything that was coming out, and then after you had your second, obviously a lot of people in the Team Beachbody world are mothers, and they're always looking at coming back after babies and baby weight, and that is such a huge strain already on the body, between breastfeeding and what your body has gone through. And that's why I always try to, obviously I know nothing about childbirth. What I do know is that you got to give your body a break, man, and understand of what it's gone through and what it is continuing to go through even after childbirth. I mean, you're sustaining a life, for crying out loud. So, you got to give yourself a break. But, so just,
but giving a break, I will tell you, you need to give your body less of a break when you treat it well consistently. I mean, this pregnancy was even that much more, I'd say, healthier than even the first one. Learning from that, how to overcome cravings smarter, or just, kind of dealing with everything a little bit sharper, a little bit better. And this past pregnancy, thankfully, not only did I work out throughout, because I think it's super important that women do if they can, and their doctor clears them for it, but also I kept up the 2B mindset throughout, and we actually developed 2B mindset pregnancy modifications that I filmed on, I want to say Thursday, and my baby was born on Tuesday. So I'm literally like 9.5 months pregnant in the 2B mindset pregnancy modification video. But that really helps the whole, first of all, it helps pregnancy throughout. It helps you have less back pain, less indigestion, like just drinking more water, eating more healthily, not gaining an excessive but a healthy amount of weight helps throughout. And I mean, every gynecologist and obstetrician would love if their patient continue to eat well and move well throughout. It does help actually the whole process in a really special way, which I do why as a registered dietitian, I always love working with pregnant women. Even before I had kids, I love that population. Postpartum also, like the recovery is, thankfully, for me at least, was way easier because I kind of kept it somewhat together throughout.
Right. Yeah. And that's good. Staying, consistently healthy and exercise and nutrition and keeping everything on point. So
a lot of women are actually more motivated when they're pregnant to eat better, because now they feel like they're like almost somewhat accountable to another. Yeah, we get a lot of hearts for that. A lot of women, like, that is actually their big push point to take care of their bodies better, because they feel that accountability, and they're actually even like stricter about eating vegetables, drinking water, moving a little bit more while they're pregnant, because also, a lot of OBGYNs kind of really push that, thankfully.
So, which is awesome. And, that's, I think people now more than ever, there's more information than ever before about not just exercise, but in terms of eating and diets, and
a little too much.
And it's an overload, right? It's too much. I think that's the problem, this day and age, is where, yes, we have all this information at our fingertips, but sometimes when it's so much, people don't know what to do, and they don't know who to believe, and they don't know how to track it, and everything they can do with it.
Well, I always recommend everyone careful with your resource. Okay. If you're going to be taking nutrition advice and personal training advice and fitness advice, they should be coming from credible people. So, I mean, I'm a registered dietitian with a master's degree in nutrition, which is considered the golden standard of education in the nutrition space, which means that not only have I had, 10 plus years of academic research and education on the subject, but I'm also accredited by a board. So as a registered dietitian, I'm part of the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics, and I have a ledger and an academic group that I am responsible to make sure that every time I recommend people do something nutritionally, it's backed by evidence. It's always evidence-based. Everything I ever tell anyone within the 2B Mindset program, in and out of the program, it's always going to be backed by evidence, not just because it helped me lose 100 pounds, not because it just helped like 200,000 plus other people lose, thousands of pounds, but because it's also backed by research and evidence that everything I'm explaining is also healthy and sound and produces long-term results. And personal training too. Like, there are so many squat pages now and fitness routine, like PDFs. And like, they don't even have a personal, like, they're not even personal trainers or have any, ACE accreditations. And I think that's a mistake, because our trainings ensure that we're injury preventing and risk preventing. And so you be careful who your source is for knowledge too. I think that's a great way to clear up all the things.
Yeah, the internet, the World Wide Web has made everybody experts at this point. So speaking of, as you're drinking your water and I'm drinking my water, but let's go into this specifically. Your water bottle. Let's go this specifically, because this is the one thing I want people to really, once they get off this today, or they go back and they watch this, is to really understand how to take everything that's going into the Beachbody library. right now in terms of Beachbody On Demand. So we've got new programs coming out. Transform 20 is in its VIP early access launch. Your program, 2B Mindset, came out last year. Lift 4 came out last year. The Ultimate Portion Fix is coming out later on this year. So there's so many resources coming in. Is for what I want people to walk away from today is saying, okay, this is how I can take a nutritional program, whether it be 2B Mindset or whether it be the Ultimate Portion Fix is coming out, and integrate it into a nutrition or a workout program like Lift 4. And the reason I say that is because when Lift 4 came out, 2B Mindset had just launched as well, or recently before that. So people were asking, can I do the two together? Well, from of course, Lift 4 had a nutrition plan, but it's also based on, simplistic macros, 30, 40, 30, but then also on the calorie brackets, which are very generalized, just to get people trying to go in the right direction, whereas 2B Mindset's obviously very specialized. And so there's been a lot of questions on how to combine these. And so let's just start with the scale, because that's the biggest one right now. And you smile and we know it. Everyone says, okay, I'm starting to lift and now I'm starting to gain weight. Well, it's besides the inflammation of your muscles and your body composition changes. So number one question is, how would you suggest people, if they're lifting or doing, working on changing their body composition, basically, is to not throw the scale out the window, but actually use it to their benefit without getting too fixated on it and freaking out?
Right. So very important thing, because I'm a big proponent of the scale. I understand that you prior maybe to like meeting me or a couple of years, whatever, or even now, don't love it. I actually have always found that personal trainers are the biggest ones, the biggest, most prominent people to tell people to throw out the scale. Like in the past, 20 years being in the industry type thing, it's always like personal trainers who really don't want their clients per se using the scale, because it's, not the only indicator of fitness and health progress, and it definitely can distract people from other overall benefits. A lot of personal trainers take the boat, and by the way, I was 100 pounds overweight. I'm like sitting on all these pictures here. Like, it's so funny. I mean, this is a really bad one, but like don't even look at my face, but I love this SpongeBob t-shirt. But anyway, like I remember going to a personal trainer when I was 100 pounds heavier, and they were like, don't look at the scale, go by how you feel. And for me, who was like sitting in a body with 100-pound excess of weight, like literally in this thing, I didn't feel differently day to day. And I wasn't in tune at all with like, I just ate 3 bags of chips or I ate 3 bags of salad. You don't really feel that great or tiny or strong or fit the next day. So for me, and what I advise for, all my, now thousands of people doing the program, is you got to use the scale, because now I'm at a point, thankfully, where I am trim and fit enough where I do see that, I see the deviations, I see the fluctuations, I see the change in my body tone. But when I was carrying lots of excess of weight, I couldn't. So I needed another objective tool to help me really track what's working and what's not. And there is, again, lots of evidence to prove the benefits of using a scale along your weight loss journey for also long-term success. So I highly recommend the scale for all the reasons I talked about within the 2B Mindset. People don't like it if they've like starved themselves in the past and you or abused it, or if they've avoided for too long. But otherwise, if you learn to mindset, you eat a lot of food, you realize you can like the scale. If you're doing Lift 4, the scale in 2B Mindset, it's the same message I would give to anyone doing no exercise in 2B Mindset or working 7 days a week with 2B Mindset, which is it's going to fluctuate day to day. It always will fluctuate day to day. Hormones, too much salt, too late of a dinner, anything, constipation, swollen muscles from weightlifting can all make the scale fluctuate. So it really takes, zooming out and getting a little better perspective and looking at the scale more sensibly and logically, and as a, just day-to-day accountability, but really look at week to week for overall progress. And of course, look at like, are you lifting more weights? Are your clothes fitting better? Are your inches getting smaller? There are so many other non-scale victories.
Right. So with the non-scale victories, and that's always been my thing too, is looking at those, because that's another way of measuring, other tools of measuring success, right? So what you were saying. The
thing with the non-scale victories, though, the reason why I love the scale along with non-scale victories is, like, for instance, okay, so like I'll even talk about my 100-pound weight loss. It was a very big deal when I was able to shop in clothing stores that wasn't classified as plus size. That was a big plus, but it took about 25 pounds 35 pounds to get there. Then it like not having chub rub in my thighs. It took another 25 pounds to get there. There was a huge non-scale victory because chub rub in your thighs is brutal. You know, being able to cross my legs, like huge non-scale victory. Being able to, you know, wear a dress, which like didn't really fit proportionally before. Like there are so many. Being able to walk upstairs without huffing and puffing. There are so many, but unfortunately it takes a long time to feel that celebratory win. And I like when people like celebrate 2 pounds at a time. They have ongoing successes. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just
no. So
I
what's
want people
so
to
with
know
the
that,
let's talk about the but let's talk about like a middle ground here, because yes, you're 100% correct. Non-scale victories sometimes can take a little bit longer to see, as you're talking about. So let's just say if someone has you know, on average, we usually, you know, people they want to lose anywhere between 15 to 30 pounds. That's on, you know, an average. You know, the first week, they may lose 2 to 5 pounds. They may not. You never know, because it's, you know, every single body is different, obviously. Then the second week, they could start gaining some weight, because then now their body's going to settle into a rhythm. And
yeah.
weeks 3 and 4, they start to feel like maybe they're plateauing, but it's not, just because now their body is coming out of that state of shock. So if we're going off of 20 pounds, for instance, what in your experience is if we're doing, let's just say 8 weeks, if they're doing 8 weeks, what is realistic for them in terms of getting on a scale and not freaking out by the number they see, if they're getting on every single day? Twice a week, 3 times a week, what would you say?
Well, consistency is key. Like sometimes people get frustrated. They're like eating well or working out well, and it's the same. And then they get like a big drop later on, and they're like, you know, the important thing is not to emotionally react to it, because sometimes the scale might go up. Like for me, today the scale went up, and yesterday I was like blazing on fire with movement and like drank a lot of water, ate totally according to stupid mindset, should have gone down, but immediately I'm like, okay, well, it'll probably correct itself tomorrow. So a lot of it will just like, it just comes from being a little bit more patient. Day to day, it can feel frustrating. You have to go week to week. The average weight loss we see with the 2B mindset across the board is about an average of 10 pounds a month. While you're building muscle, sure, if it's 8 pounds, but you feel like you're really progressing, then it's still a step in the right direction. I think people get really frustrated when it feels like it's taking so long, but like you said, there's non-scale victories along the way. And if you're lifting weights with Joel and you're eating with the 2B mindset, let's just talk about overall body health that's taking place. Like these things are very beneficial for boosting your immunity, for reducing your risk of severe chronic diseases like heart disease and diabetes, and certain cancer. So even if the scale's not there, but you're feeling good, because you should be feeling good every day, you know, you gotta just respect the process, and you gotta trust it. And like I said, sometimes it'll like be the same, and it'll like be finicky, but then you see those bigger drops. And one thing I love about Lift 4, which I said from the start when it launched, is that I love it is 4 days a week. I'm back. Yeah. I love it 4 days a week, because for me, and I was telling Joel this, for me, now that I started lifting weights, which I haven't done in like ever, but now I love to lift weights, which is interesting since having my son, and I really didn't in the past. For me, I see that on days I lift, like yesterday, it goes up the next day. But let's say on a weekend day that I don't work out, it's like my muscles, and I just drink maybe more water, and I'm just kind of taking light walks with my family, I see it really go down. So I think everyone has to realize there's muscle swelling involved. Like I said, day to day, it's like kind of works more as an accountability tool, some feedback, but it's really week to week for progress. Month to month is when I recommend pictures and inches. You could do it more often, but month to month, inches and pictures tend to like be like that really positive boost.
Yeah. So the day to day is great, obviously, from the 2B mindset standpoint. Week to week is definitely, I mean, that's something that I, as the personal trainer in me, is more comfortable saying, of course.
Should I tell you why I don't like? Should I tell you why I don't like week to week?
What's that?
Can I explain why I don't like weekly?
Absolutely.
Okay, so weekly is very Weight Watchery. Most people who've ever done Weight Watchers, like you know, they have their day. Now, I've worked with thousands and thousands of people. Even before meeting Beachbody, I led a weight loss seminar at UCLA for thousands of employees for 10 semesters. And I used to not recommend daily. I used to recommend, you know, I personally used to recommend Mondays and Fridays, because Monday tells us what happened over the weekend, and Friday tells us what happened over the week. Okay. And still to this day, if you're doing the 2B mindset and Monday, Friday works for you, like you can do that too. Everyone should take a flexible approach of what works for them. But what I found is speaking with people who wanted to stick to once a week because they were used to that from Weight Watchers or someone else telling them that, is that let's say their weigh-in, it was all about the weigh-in day, Joel. Right. Anyone who tells me they did Weight Watchers, I'm like, what's your day? Right. So if your day is Friday, then you feel like Friday night, go crazy. Have your cocktails, have your chocolate. It's all good. You're not going on the scale for a week. And then, Saturday, it's still kind of sloppy. Sunday, it's like whatever you want. Monday, it's like get it into gear, go absolutely insane, and and kind of like restrict yourself so that Friday it's good. And I see people manipulate their food that way and cause unhealthy relationships with food because they're kind of eating because they can and not because they even fully want to enjoy it, but just because Friday night was their permission night. Versus I want you, like if it's Thursday night and you're at a special date night and a special occasion and that chocolate cake looks good, I want you to fully enjoy it any day. And just be present with the food whenever it is. And I found that people who are going on the scale once a week were actually manipulating their food and playing more of a game with it than anything. And that's one big reason. And the next big reason is if someone is working hard and eating salads a lot of the week and making healthy choices and having no cocktail but sparkling water while their friends are all getting drunk or whatever it is, and they go on once a week and it stays the same, they feel defeated. Right. They feel like I've been doing such a good job. What is it? Versus, but it could be that they lost 2 pounds Monday to Friday, gained 2 over the weekend, so the whole week just feels like a wash. And I want people to establish patterns of what is working and what isn't, so you can better figure out what you want to stay more consistent of and what you actually don't want to do as often. And so there's a lot more thinking behind the daily thing. But of course, I want everyone to do whatever works for them. If it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if it's, if you have a late night meal and you don't want to go on the next day, that's fine. But I actually see for healthy relationships with food and people's bodies, the more often you go on, the less of a thing it usually becomes. The less often you go on, the more you're thinking on Tuesday, what's it going to be on Friday? And I want people to chill with it.
And look, it can mess. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing with any of this is, look, the scale is something that it just, because people are about instant gratification. That's what we want to see. That's why the scale is a tool that people use to get instant gratification on, to say, hey, I just jumped on the scale and now tell me I've been doing a good job. Or it does the exact opposite and freaks you out. So I think it's very easy for us in our spot right here to say, don't freak out about it, but we know people are going to do it every single day. So hopefully at least then listening to you talk about this and how to establish a better relationship with getting it on the scale is not going to freak him out, as much. And so you guys, if you're doing it every single day, if you're doing it every other day, once a week, whatever it is, I think the biggest key here, really, and this is what I wanted, that's why I wanted you on here, so people can hear this and understand this, is to understand that this is a process, that it's not going to be something that's going to happen on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. It's going to be something where, that's why 2B Mindset was developed, that's why Lift 4 was developed, that's why Ultimate Portion Fix and Transform 20, and that's why Beachbody On Demand in itself has this entirety of resources and the ultimate tools that you need, one, for yourself, and two, as if you're a Team Beachbody coach and you're going out and you're teaching the masses, as well as that's why you have the 2B Mindset certification now. And then in everything else that they're working on at Beachbody is to go out and show people how you can have a healthy relationship with food and a healthy relationship with the scale, and how you can have a healthy relationship with working out and with the weight. So Ilana, so what would be your advice to, now that we've established that, what would be your advice to the coaches who haven't gone through, not the ones that went through the 2B Mindset certification, but the ones who are getting nutrition questions about the scale? What is some really good general advice for our team Beachbody coaches that you want to share?
I mean, I really believe everyone doing the 2B Mindset. I mean, I will tell you, this is really interesting. Our program launched in May, and leading up to May, when people didn't really know who I was or what our program was about, I was counting down the days till people were going to hate me. I was telling Beachbody corporate, I'm like, when's it going to happen that everyone is going to say, this monster wants me using this scale? And we were prepared for it. Lara Ross, you know, Executive Vice President of Beachbody and Product Development, we actually created an additional scale talk video where I'm like 8 months pregnant and talking about a little deeper into the research of the scale, just because we were so scared about what the feedback was. But what was fascinating is we actually were able to put about 300 people through test groups because we had a long time. So we had 50 people in the first one, 100 in the second one, like about 100 in the third, I believe. And there wasn't one like huge criticism of the scale, but we were still so paranoid there would be. And it's actually quite astonishing that since launching the program, there's been very little pushback on it. And I think it's because once you start watching the 2B Mindset program, you understand immediately why it's part of the program and how to use it best. And the success, I mean, even this week I posted on Instagram, like scale talk, you know, who likes the scale? And there's like 80 plus comments, people saying, I hated the thing forever. And now I love it. So I think you really need to start doing the 2B Mindset to understand why people love it and why you might not love it right away, but see it as a tool. See it as a tool. And one of the best things about it is right now we all demonize sugar. We all think cookies are the enemy. We all think eating cake is so bad. And the best part of 2B Mindset is, like, aside from amazing weight loss results, I mean, we have several people who already hit 100 pounds, but the number one testimonial is that they have a better relationship with food. And part of the reason is because people actually have a slice of cake and have a glass of wine. And as long as all the other principles are okay and together, sometimes they even see a weight loss the next day, or it stays the same, or it goes up 0.2 and they thought it was going to go up 15. And so a lot of the benefits of going on and doing the 2B Mindset and understanding how to eat and how to treat yourself is it, instead of demonizing the scale, it starts to allow you a little more freedom and flexibility, not thinking that food is so dangerous. Because people think, like, there's so many blogs saying sugar is poison and sugar detox and cut out everything. And that's not very sustainable. But when people see that they could actually have these things, but in a smarter approach, that the scale your life doesn't change. your body's still beautiful. And I think the scale, I think you really just have to do the 2B Mindset to kind of understand that sensibility.
So they need to, so I think it's, besides, if they haven't done 2B Mindset, wanting to go in and at least look at the program materials, you guys. Every program in Beachbody, on Beachbody On Demand, Lift 4 included, has program materials that you can go in and look. You can look at the, like, for Lift 4.
I don't know how much you can see of the 2B Mindset without purchasing it.
There's some videos at least you can watch, right?
No, everything kind of has to be unlocked except for the Meet on Lana video as of now, unfortunately. But it is on sale now, and there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. So it's only on sale now for one more week. And like, the craziest, most unbelievable part about Beachbody is there is a 30-day money-back, empty bag Shakeology guarantee. Right. So watch all the videos. And then if you decide you want to call customer service and do what you want, you're totally free to do that.
Absolutely. And that comes with Lift 4, and that comes with 2B Mindset, that comes with everything, you guys. So, you know, some takeaways from this, just to close this out, everybody, is to really understand the fact that everything we have at Beachbody, besides being the ultimate tool in terms of nutrition and exercise and community, a lot of other good stuff, and the community, hello, look at what we're doing right now, is always backed by the 30-day money-back guarantee. So, there you go. There's that. And then, again, just look at what you're doing in terms of, or look at what you're looking at in terms of your research, and not just going off a random blog article that you happen to Google and is popped up at the very top of the search. You got to look and make sure. So in terms of nutrition, you got to make sure you're listening to the experts like Ilana. When it comes to the exercise and physiology, you got to make sure that you're paying attention to what I'm saying and what the rest of the team at Beachbody is saying, because this is the stuff that dispels all the notions about the scale. Everything we talk about lifting is in Lift 4 is dispelling the notions about women getting bulky with weights. Like, this is where how we're going to dispel all the notions. So Ilana,
and just so everyone knows, like, since having my baby, I'm actually, like, before having my baby, I had like a 5-pound weight range, because, like, no one's at like their exact goal weight. It's usually like fluctuates, like a 5-pound for maintenance mode. And I was like, my top number of my range is actually like what my middle number is now. Like, I feel like I'm kind of carrying like a few, like 3-4 more pounds than I did before my baby. But since I've lifted, at the same time, which I didn't before. I'm in the exact same clothes, and according to my husband, he thinks I look even better. So it, again, like, it isn't all about the number on the scale, because there is definitely that element, like even sometimes carrying like a few extra pounds, but being super fit, you see the same clothing size and you kind of carry everything a little bit better. So just know that I agree with that.
It all comes together. It all comes together on that one. Well, thank you so much for coming on, jumping on. Your hair looks fabulous.
Thank you, everyone, for being the first ones to see it. Super excited.
I love it. And no, thanks for being on and everything that you do and being a part of the team. And this is why we love what we do. It's fun stuff. So, all right, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Have a good day.
All right. Good stuff, everybody. So, hey, look, if you missed any of that, you need to, I messed up my thing. If you missed any of that, you need to go back and watch this. As a reminder, this is always up on my YouTube. This is up for 24 hours on the Instagram. And, this was a special edition one. So, there's going to be probably a lot of people that missed it. But hopefully, you guys got some good information about that, because this is really about how, the whole purpose of this, I wanted to bring Ilana on so we could talk about, one, the scale, because that's always a big question with Live4, and then as well, and just in exercise in general, and then also with the, bring the nutrition aspect into it. So tomorrow, still rolling tomorrow, even though this one was a special one today. So tomorrow, Wednesday, 4 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel, or same Joel time, same Joel channel. I'm going to be bringing on somebody from the Beachbody corporate office to talk about 2019 goals, the new tracker, and all kinds of good stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna go get my workout in now, because I haven't even worked out yet today. So I'm ready to go though. I'm gonna go drink my Energize. I'm gonna go do it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.